If you can unlock others' potential and bring it all together, you can do so much more than you would ever be able to manage on your own. That is the strength of facilitating. Hello, I'm Tom. Welcome to my channel where we talk about continuous improvement in an industrial setting. And today's video, it is about facilitating. Specifically about facilitating a problem-solving group, but also more broadly, any time that you can bring a whole group of people to join in collective critical thinking, communicate all the answers and all the ideas, and together form a real solution or form conclusions. If you can get that rolling, then you have got such a high-powered tool for your whole organization. And that is because on your own, you cannot master all of the specialties. You will not have all the knowledge. You will go down thinking funnels. And those are all things, even if you are a very well-trained problem solver, a very critical thinker, an analyst, still having other people around tremendously helps you, even to just bounce your own ideas off. But in practice, you are not an expert on everything. You don't want to be an expert on everything. You've got other people who work the line daily and have that practical knowledge, who are subject matter experts specifically on one field, who know how things are checked, who know how to sway people into implementing solutions. All kinds of roles, they all come together if we are talking about a problem-solving team or an improvement team or almost any effort you do within modern organizations, because they will all be team efforts. Now, from time to time, you will just be on your own designing something, and that is perfectly fine. Make your presentation, design your solution, design an app, but even then it has to fit in within the organization. An organization by definition is more than one person. If we focus on the problem-solving team, what we usually bring together is at least an operator or the person really doing the work. So it depends a bit on the type of problem. If you are in production, and it's usually a line operator, it can be a logistics employee when you are talking about lean and logistics stuff. It can be anyone performing the process where the problem occurs. And then we've also got technicians. Technicians, they are, if we're talking production, it's like a mechanic, it's someone doing the technical work around the line. But this can also, in other cases, be somebody who does quality controls, someone who works in the laboratory and really knows the ins and outs of specific measurement systems, or anyone who services stuff around the process where your problem occurred. And then we've got the subject matter experts. And this should actually be a couple, probably. Sometimes people say the operator is basically the expert on this subject. Yes, they are an experience expert. What you also really want to involve in your problem-solving team are people who know the why behind the processes, who understand the physics, the way things work, the idea of why a process works a specific way, what is its role in the total picture, and how to change things in almost a theoretical way, right? So these are the engineers, the technologists, the people who really know the subject matter of where your problem occurred. These are generally smart people found in staff departments, in support departments, or can also be outside consultants. And then to round out this group, as I said, you've got a facilitator. Generally also, you've got the manager or a leader of one or more of these. So a production team leader, for instance, is quite a good role to also have in your team, because they will guide the implementation process, they can free up resources, maybe even somebody at the level of a production manager, although we will also speak about the problem owner in a bit. So what you see now is that there is also sort of a hierarchical difference between the members of your team. Generally, think about it what you want, but generally subject matter experts, they are higher paid, higher positioned professionals. Operators generally are basic workforce. It feels like a difference, especially if you have direct management and leaders of some of them in the team. And what this also does a bit too often is it makes sort of a disbalance, right? If somebody feels that they are specifically not the subject matter expert, they might be disinclined to talk and to really question the things that they say. And you get this skewed communication within the team. So some people, they say a lot. They may have actually already thought about the problem before or already tried to solve it last year and it will not work anyway this year. Very, very nasty way of thinking, but this is the reality of doing problem solving in an organization. I mean, you're not always solving very new problems. Sometimes you got stuff that already was sort of continuing for years and it was festering in the organization. Multiple teams weren't really able to solve it. So these things definitely also happen. And what you get then is that in the conversations, there will be this imbalance. Some people will talk a lot, other people will not speak up, but maybe also not really understand what is being said. And because of that, they don't contribute their thinking. They sort of stop thinking because they cannot grasp what is being said anyway. Or they see that somebody else is giving lots and lots and lots of ideas, and they can't really contribute that much. That is something where your role as facilitator is critical. You have to make sure that you balance speaking time, not per se, but at least the speaking impact. You have to make sure that everyone is contributing to one big discussion. And for that, we also, in the problem-solving method, we use a couple of things like letting on purpose the operator or the person who really was with the process where a problem occurred, letting them do the explanation at the start. Because generally, they are the people who are a bit more silent when the subject matter experts start talking or when the team leader starts. So like this, we put them already in a position of where they can tell what they want to share, also tell the situation, and that can give you great insight. So that is one of the things. Another thing is, especially we use this with the how we brainstorm about the fishbone, is to just go one answer by one answer through the group. Make sure everyone gets a chance to give one extra answer, even if you've already written down 10 brilliant ideas. No, next one, because there will be a next round and the next round and the next round. Now that system is designed again to make sure that everyone can say their things. And it's okay if you skip around. But you can also ask a question based on what is being put up. And like this, you really force the discussion in such a way that everyone can contribute and you create that energy. You see, that is the main goal of getting everyone involved in this communal thinking. And as soon as you see people sort of, drifting off, or you get the feeling that they don't fully understand what has just been said by the previous entries on your brainstorm or on your analysis, you draw it towards you as a facilitator. And that same role, that also goes for actually the tools themselves. I mean, if we check my 6-step problem-solving method, I kept the tools pretty basic on purpose. But even there, the 5W2H and the is not, it is a tool that not everyone has used yet. So for some people, that will be quite a barrier. And your role as a facilitator is to explain it, to show, to take people along and take them to the other side. Because here they can go step by step. They can go together with you, together with the rest of the team, and make sure that all of the tools that you use, that they are already not more difficult, not more complex than they need to be. That is why I put them like that in the method, but also that you guide everyone in the team through the tools and make sure that people can, they can contribute. They are not hindered by what they might perceive as a difficult new skill, a difficult new thing to use. So those definitely your roles within the team. As a facilitator, you make sure that the conversation stays balanced and that you guide people in such a way through the tools that they can, with a good, relaxed feeling, contribute in the discussions. And you know what the nice thing is? When you take people along, and actually in my experience, especially when you take, for instance, quality and laboratory staff that are not generally involved in production improvement projects, if you take them in, the ideas, they keep flying and it bounces off. You get a discussion going also between different departments that should have been working together already for years. But you just see that when you get your team together and you really facilitate the discussion, much more comes out of it than just the problem solving and analysis you are doing. They will really figure out things that the other didn't really know how the process works, and such things are gold. And that is because generally our technologists and our engineers, they know the process as we put it on paper. But the people actually doing it, they can tell you what happens in practice. And if there is a mismatch there, you need to feed these experts with such information. Now, do you feel already why you as a single person, even if you are a brilliant analyst and problem solver, could never have achieved all of that? You need to take a group of people along, get them in a structured way of critical thinking, and then the ideas flow. Now, the other part, of course, is when you have such a team behind you, you can also, when you're implementing your countermeasures, your ideas, your changes, your improvements, rely on a much larger team of colleagues to give that momentum to the implementation, to give a feeling of trust with all of the groups within your organization that they represent. I mean, if there is a technician on the team, the other technicians will be much more likely to accept the changes that you're making, because they know, their colleague is already on there. They probably checked in a good way, and it will not be a stupid change. So stuff like that really matters a lot, and that is why we want to learn how to facilitate a team going through the thinking process. Then the other part that I mentioned at the beginning of the video, the manager, the leader. I think you should put managers in improvement and problem-solving teams, definitely from time to time, because it is good also to get their involvement with the tools, with the problems. From time to time, you really need their knowledge, their skills, but it's more about involvement and good example. But not for every, especially not for every problem-solving team, not even for every improvement team. It takes too much time. Managers also need to be able to delegate these things. But every problem-solving team does need a problem owner, and that problem owner needs to be a manager who can remove obstacles, who can give out resources, and who can be sort of an icebreaker for the team within the management layers when needed. Because you need support as well. So in your team, you probably don't have a lot of decision power by yourself. You don't really have the mandate to change things in your factory, your organization, to do financial stuff, to change all kinds of methods and procedures, which is good, but that means that when you do want to change them, you too often will encounter that the rest of the organization, it's a bit stiff, it's a bit difficult to get things through immediately. You need a pretty mature Kaizen, continuous improvement type of culture in your organization for any improvement team to just easily go through that sort of internal bureaucracy. That is one of the places where this problem owner, the manager problem owner, comes in. They should really be working on removing obstacles for the team. But that also means that you've got to get them and keep them aligned on what you are doing. Now, in the 6-step model, that is done by checking every step with the problem owner, and preferably with the team behind the problem owner, because a problem, it comes from a deviation in your skills management, in your processes, or in your performance. All of that is generally checked by your performance control meetings, your daily meet, your daily stand-up. Those teams, the members of those meetings, they are responsible for the processes, for the performance. They are interested in what your problem-solving team is doing. So this problem owner is the linchpin. Also, really make sure you get them along. And the funny thing is, those are basically the same type of skills, but it's a bit like project management, but it's also really a lot in communicating, getting people involved, letting them also say what they have to say, and making sure you take them along the journey. Again, that is a critical part of facilitating the problem-solving process. And that is also why the template, it has all kinds of pointers and hints on how to use it to make it easy also for people to read ahead a bit and understand what you need to do, but also to have a central place to collect everything. Why in the online training that is now available, you will get a couple of videos specifically aimed at the team, but also direct help for you on what do you want from each of the tools. So how should you stimulate the team to get maximum results? And if you go for one of the options that includes coaching, we'll also really focus on how are we going to prep the team, feedback to the problem owner, and get the whole group process flowing as well. And here's also the thing, you might be thinking of improving your problem-solving skills to get a nice raise or to get really a good profile for your job, advance your career, and some people don't really want to share that, right? You might be just looking at YouTube material, at courses by yourself and sort of self-studying around that, which is absolutely fine. If you are ready to openly discuss that you are learning with your colleagues and especially with your manager, there is actually an even better way to learn, and we will do that in the coaching part if you go for that option, and that is to also involve your manager in some of those calls so that we can really make sure that for your first project, for your problem-solving effort, we will make the prerequisites, form the team, and get a good start and also a very good evaluation and finish at the end, which will share with your manager and the organization what you have done and which skills you now master. So that is for you if you are willing to share that you are learning with the rest of the organization, which for some people is indeed a scary thing to do. But I will guarantee you, if you're open about that, people will be supportive and they will help you to learn even faster. So anyway, lots of info, but if you are ready to take that dive, go and check out my template, go and check out my website and see what we can do together to boost your problem-solving skills.